Hi friends, it is Josh coming to you with a Tarot Snapshot for Sunday, January 7th, 2024, the first Tarot Snapshot of the year. So let's get a little excited. Let's set the pace for the year. I want this year to be, for me anyways, a year of exploration, of discovery, of development. I am turning 45 in March, and I'm perplexed by that number. Not in the way of like, oh, I'm getting old, because I don't buy into that. I love getting old. I love the gift of age. But the idea that we're always developing, we're always becoming something greater than we were the year before. I don't want to be the version that I was when I was 35. I don't want to be the version that I was when I was 25. And I don't know where this myth comes from that we're some sort of finished product, that we reach this place of being done, because I don't think that happens. We learn, we love, we develop, we grow, we change, and we should. We should never stay the same. So, with that being said, let's set the intention for this Tarot Snapshot. The Tarot Snapshot this week is brought to you by the Mystical Medleys deck, the old-timey cartoon deck that I love so much. This was a gift for my husband because I'm a big believer in vitamin joy, getting the joy in as much as we can in this world. I'm going to shuffle 3 times. The first card that I pick represents us, represents who we are in this moment. And I get as much out of these readings as anybody else that would be watching this. So let's lean into it and let's discover who we are this week. Okay. I'm going to split the deck right down the middle. Right there. This is us. We are this week the 7 of Cups. Ooh, okay. 7 of Cups traditionally is a card of illusion, mystery, and choices. So this is going to ask me to ask you to think of what is good for you, what is bad for you. This card has come to mean to me, the thing you think is bad for you is good for you. The thing you think is good for you is bad for you. This is probably appropriate at the beginning of the year when everybody's still in that energy of New Year's resolutions. I want to give you my example of how this card applies to me. So, coffee. I was raised in a household of people that drank coffee. And we're raised in a culture where, good to the last drop, or, I'm thinking of Folgers and Maxwell House and all of those things that the jingles that we have growing up and we get exposed to, the Starbucks culture. Coffee is the first gateway drug. So a lot of people think it's cannabis or marijuana. It's not. Coffee is the first gateway drug. Coffee is the first stimulant that is socially acceptable that we consume, that gives us a stimulation, then a crash, and we kind of have to, go back to it. I'm a person that can't moderate. The worst fights that my husband and I have ever gotten into is because I had an afternoon coffee and I got tweaked and wired. Now, here I am growing up in a world that says, drink your coffee, it'll speed you up, it'll give you all the energy that you need, but nobody ever talks about the negative health effects of coffee. Coffee is awful for me, and one of the best decisions I ever made was getting off of it. Now, if you're a coffee person and it's good for you and you love it and you're addicted to it and what have you, and it's not causing any sort of issues in your life, keep drinking it. Your mileage is going to vary with what I'm talking about. I'm using coffee in my life as an example of how this card really affected me, or coffee has really affected me. So the idea that coffee is good for me, well, it's actually bad, and that's what this card represents. The idea of giving up coffee, the thing I thought was bad for so long, was actually good. And I don't need coffee. In fact, I get up, I've got energy, I'm going, I've, moved away from dependency around that. Everybody has a thing that they cling to, a person or a situation or a job that they cling to, that they think they have to, the thing they think is good for them, which is actually bad for them. And they don't want to give it up because there is that dependency. Giving up that job or that person or that situation is bad for me. Well, here I am saying that that's actually good for you. This card, when this comes up, I'm always frustrated with it because it's like, what are we talking about? What in my life do I think is good for me that's bad for me? What is bad for me that I think is good for me? So again, this is a card of paradox, which means you're going to have to study a little bit in your life. If I were to ask you, is there anything that you're dependent on? What comes into your mind? Are you dependent on other people's opinions? because that's that's certainly a bad thing for you. If you're seeking outside validation from other people, you'll always be hungry. I love that saying. What other people think of you, good, bad, or indifferent, is none of your business. And you certainly can't be fed or validated by that. Seven of Cups is saying that we have something in our life that we think is good for us, that's bad for us. The thing that we think is bad for us is good for us. Again, a little self-exploration, but for me, if I had to pick, I'm working a lot lately. I'm doing a lot. And I can feel that having an effect on my health. I actually don't have a choice because I'm that busy, and I'm blessedly so. So I'm really managing, like tomorrow. Tomorrow should be a day off for me. It's not. I am actually going to be working so much. On the outside of that, there's a good effect of that. We're paying our bills, we're keeping afloat, all of that. But is there a negative side to it? Absolutely. So we can't be black and white with those things that we think are good for us, the things that we think are bad for us. Got to get rid of it. Well, working is something that I have to do, and I have to mitigate that. I do. So if I have something in my life that I think is bad for me, that might be good for me, well, I have to lean into that. And I have to perhaps not encounter life with such a broad stroke, or paint such a broad stroke with that brush. What vexes and perplexes us this month is the Five of Wands. So this is conflict, but I love the little baseball guy because it's talking about play. So there's a level of conflict with the Five of Wands, like getting together with other people, making things happen, teamwork, all of that. I like to think that what this card reminds me of is that to a certain degree, life is going to be a hassle. Can you play with that? You're going to have to do laundry. You're going to have to do dishes. Can you make it a game? Can you play with that? The hassle of responsibilities is a hassle, right? When I have a full day and I catch myself in the morning going, oh, I can't believe I have to go and do all this, I immediately flip that script and be like, oh, I can't believe I get to go do this. Because the work that I do, if I resent it, it's going to show in that. So I try to have fun. I try to turn it into a game. I try to have pleasure in it because, again, we can't control what's happening to us. We can only control how we react to it. If I get pissed off about doing the dishes and the laundry all the time, what kind of life is that? So I'm going to turn that into play as much as I can. The card that heals and reveals for us, the Two of Pentacles. I love that little guy right there. This is talking about juggling, when the waves are rocky. This is a little bit of a different depiction of the Two of Pentacles than normal, but this is all about balance. Balancing what the earthly existence of ours has to, requires of us. When it comes to juggling, do we know that the balls are rubber or do we know that the balls are glass? And that will tell you how careful you have to be with juggling, of course, but this is all about balance. So, already talking to my husband, waking up this morning going, oh, I'm so tired, what do I got to do? This morning, I didn't even have time for my morning walk. And it's been forever since I haven't walked in the morning. My body needed sleep. So I gave my body what it needed. We're already planning for Tuesday being a day of rest and play. So Monday, we know, well, it's a day that we don't get off. It's a day that we're going to have to just slog through. We're going to do it. But Tuesday, there's that day of like downtime. We're not doing anything. This card honors that balance. So I want you to think about the balance that's required in your life so you can balance work and play. Look at this guy, like, wow, look at this guy play, yay. I think that we all have to do that. Even if we're retired, we still have obligations. We still have to clean the house and take care of our animals and do all of that stuff that we might think of as work. Let's balance it and let's play with it. So, talked about a lot this week. Thank you for being here. I've got some events in January coming up. I really appreciate you just being here virtually and taking a look at the Tarot Snapshot for this week. Take care of yourselves out there. Be well. Have a wonderful January. I'll see you next week. I got a blog coming out on Wednesday that I can't wait to share with everybody. But no matter what you do, be kind to yourself and take care of yourself.